as of whenever I finish the Crown of Swords, I am 50% done with the Wheel of Time. That is crazy amazing, and I'm so happy that I'm not happy that I'm halfway done because I'm gonna be done with it at any moment, and that will not be a good thing. But I finished the first 7 of the Wheel of Time, which are I have the World, the Great Hunt, Dragon Reborn, the Shadow Rising, Fires of Heaven, Lord of Chaos, and the Crown of Swords, all by Robert Jordan. And wow, these books were really, really good. And I have not gotten the time to talk of Wheel of Time as a whole. I've talked about all of these books in length. If you really want in-depth review for them, I have all of them. And I know my reviews for these two were 20 plus minutes long. So they're in-depth if you want to check them out. But this is the first time we've got to talk to them as a whole, as the whole series comes and passes. And this is my 50% through mark. I'm just like halfway done. And I will continue to finish and review the second half. And I will review that. I'll review Wheel of Time as a whole when I'm done with that. But right now I'm just going to do my thoughts. As of 50% through, I am reading Path of Daggers. That review should be coming out as soon as I can get it out to you. But yeah, so that's basically what's going to be going on. I really, really, really loved this series, and this is shaping up to be one of my favorite series of all time. Probably my favorite completed series of all time. But that's so far. I have not finished this series, and Stormlight is not completed yet. And so that's basically like what I think about it. It's really, really, really good. And I want to do a why you should read, but I'm going to wait till I finish off the series. Because Rand is our main character, and he grows so much through the series. Eye of the World, I say this in every review, but Eye of the World and Crown of Swords, Rand is a much more collected, gathered, more kingly person. Also, he's going a little bit cuckoo because Lutheran is in his head the whole time. It gets worse and worse throughout the series. It's like a mental illness almost, but you can kind of see this kind of happen. Like, he's going a little bit crazy, but also he's being a leader. So it's really, really cool to see Rand go through that. And this change in the series is really, really awesome. And a lot of people say Robert Jordan, he's overly descriptive. I really am okay with that writing style. I'm totally fine with having the writing style to be overly descriptive, because that's how he rolls. And his descriptive writing style, I'm totally used to by now. And I think Tolkien's is much harder to get into. But I really have never had a problem with Robert Jordan's writing style. I just kind of gotten used to it over the Eye of the World, and it's just been much better since then. I don't know. I've really never been bothered by it. His overly descriptive tone of nature, but I really just think it's how he writes his books, and I don't think it would be the same if he wrote them like people wanted them to write like more action on the front, like more kind of direct. But he does write very direct. He's kind of like Brandon Sanderson's writing style. It's just he's very descriptive, and it's not totally action packed 100% of the time. Obviously, every book looked like it's been okay. This is happening, and then the climax blows you away, and that's why most of them were 5 stars, because the climax to every one of these books was very, very awesome. And I'm already wanting to reread Eye of the World, because it's just... So I know it's so different, and I know it's so much more like a classic fantasy story. Probably am going to be rereading that next year, but not the whole series again, but I don't know. And these books are long. They're not Stormlight books, but I think they're huge. Still, I think the biggest one might have been Lord of Chaos or Shadow Rising. This one was almost 100,000. This one was almost 1,000 pages. Let me see what Lord of Chaos is. Yeah, almost. These are all both very these are both 900 pages. they're big books, and a lot of them, it's not going full speed 100% of the time, but it does blow you away with the just how perfectly it's really crafted. It feels like he really loves this world, and the world is very massive. If that turns you off, that's one of the hardest times to read. It's the hardest thing to read about Wheel of Time. The hardest thing to read about Tolkien is because of his prose. A lot of people get turned off by his prose, but once you get used to them, they're very beautiful, and they're just kind of like, they make you want to read more. Like, I could read Tolkien's, like, I can read the boringest textbook in the world. If Tolkien wrote it, I could read it, because but you have to get used to it, because Tolkien's writing style is just amazing. Everything he does in it is really, really, really good. But the thing that turns you off about Robert Jordan, most people about Robert Jordan, is his massive world. Like, he'll build this world. He helps you build, he helps you learn the world. But after that, there's just so many characters, so many races, there's so many, like, he has character traits to each of these races, and he'll have, like, he has, like, literally, the Wheel of Time companion up there is literally a dictionary of just, and it's this thick. It's a dictionary of everything that he's wrote in his world. And if you can have a dictionary as big as our normal dictionaries, as big as, like, everything in the world is very, very, like, deep and kind of in depth. He fleshes this world. It's the biggest world I've ever seen. It's so in depth. I think Brandon Sanderson's worlds are cool, and they have a couple races. They have a couple of those things. It's nowhere half as near as Robert Jordan's world he built in this. And yeah, it's really, really big, fleshed out, and so many characters. A lot of people complain about the characters. I can remember the main characters, like, really well. Side characters, I tend to kind of, like, lose track. I'm taking notes, I'm trying my best to keep up with it, and it's getting hard to keep up with it. But there's more and more every character, and especially in the slog. I'm in the slog right now. It's, like, even harder because they're so boring, but it's still, like, awesome. I think what made the slog as bad is basically having the chapters that nobody cares about and then condensing them into one book. Because there was once in a while, every chapter, it'll be a boring chapter I don't care about. The next chapter will be a really awesome chapter I can't not read, But I really think these are great. As of my ranking for all of them, I will rank Lord of Chaos first. So far, it's Lord of Chaos is number 1 for me. Then it is Shadow Rising. Then it is the Fires of Heaven. And then it's the Great Hunt. Then it's Great Hunt. Then it is... No. Then it is Dragon Reborn. Then it is Eye of the World. And then it is Crown of Swords. And Crown of Swords is still a 4-star read for me. Yet, it's my least favorite, so you can tell. Each of them managed to blow me away, and it is currently in the works. If I finish it, and it is, like, halfway as good as what I expect, it will still be my favorite series for a long time. It really changed for me. It's like, as a reader, I can just tell you this is a classic. It's not really, I don't really consider it a classic because the last book was in 2013. But it kind of reads like a classic. His writing style is very olden day. Even though Brandon Sanderson builds a lot, he takes a lot from Robert Jordan. It is still, you can kind of see that it's different. Like, he is more modern. He's a very modern fantasy author, and you can tell. And I think this should be, like, one thing, like Lord of the Rings, that people are required to read. I think these totally have potential for it, and I really, really love all of them. All of them were 5 stars. It's Eye of the World and Crown of Swords. A lot of people love Eye of the World. I liked Eye of the World a lot. I just didn't love it because, well, Eye of the World, it did resemble a lot of Lord of the Rings. But I love Lord of the Rings, but I do just think I wasn't really ready for it. I didn't really understand what was going on. Like, this was just like a generic fantasy story. But I do think if I reread this book, I'm going to like it a lot more because I know what's going on. I know where it's going to be heading. I know where it's starting. And these did really set up a lot of the characters really well. So I did really like this, even though I didn't. It's still my second least favorite. And Crown of Swords, I didn't hate it that much. It was the first book of a slog, but I thought it was good, but it definitely wasn't as good as the other ones. But I wouldn't consider it the start of the slog because it had a really nice climax and it had these moments I liked that were, I would say, was a good thing. And The Dragon Reborn, it was good, but I don't think it kind of paced weird. I think one of my gripes about it was Rand was barely in this book. I mean, he has a part at the end which is monumental for the series, and that's why it's called The Dragon Reborn. He kind of proclaims himself as the Dragon Reborn. But he's kind of like, he's not in the book. He was like maybe a chapter in the middle, and then he comes in at the end and he saves everybody. Blah blah blah. But like he like the middle of this book is like, he's basically like, it has a lot of I think it has like a lot of loyal Moraine and stuff like that. And then it's the Dragon Reborn because Rand becomes the Dragon Reborn at the very end. He's not becomes, he proclaims himself as the Dragon Reborn. The Great Hunt I loved the Great Hunt. It was really great about it. I just think the whole plot about the Horn of Valere was really good, and Matt's still not really a big character until Dragon Reborn, but I really think it made this series, hey, I'm going to finish this off, and I was very happy where it left me off, and I think it did great. Everything just did really amazing for the Great Hunt. These are the books that I think are borderline perfect. I love The Fires of Heaven more than most people. I really just think this was an amazing book. The Fires of Heaven, it was it's structured perfectly. I think made a questionable decision about having was it Nynaeve and Elaine or someone? I think it was those two. I'm pretty sure. You can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but they joined a circus. I know they did that. I'm pretty sure it was Nynaeve and Elaine or Egwene. They all get messed up in my head. Even though now it's more clear because not spoiling the series, but Elaine and Egwene has different parts, different roles in the series. Back then I really didn't understand it, so I'm not sure which one was it. They joined a circus and I was like, okay, this is confusing. It was good, but it was like, okay, what's going on? Where are we taking this? And then the ending happened, and it blew me away, and that ending shocked me. I was shocked a lot of this book, and especially the end. And I can talk forever about that book. And The Shadow Rising, I loved this book. It was massive. I think the two biggest books are my two favorites, so this one is really good. I think it has a lot of Matt character building in this book. Has a lot of everything about the Aiel in this book was amazing. And Rand, again, he's one of my favorite Rand books. He has a lot of character development. He's very different from the Dragon Reborn. Now he's the official Dragon Reborn. And yeah, you can tell he's growing more. He's growing more as a character. I think he's definitely more of a king, more of a Dragon Reborn kind of thing, because he's less of a scared farm boy and he's more of a leader now. So you can see that's it's happening with him, and it's very good. And my favorite book out of the Wheel of Time. Can you guess what it is? It was a second to last book of this half. That is The Lord of Chaos. And this was my second favorite book of this part of the year. I did that halfway through the year thing. And this was my second favorite. You know why? Because this book had a really, really good, I think what made it great about it, it had a really good, the big chunk of the book was really, really great. And then the climax blew me away. The climax was insane. And how Robert Jordan sets his books up, he kind of has a lot of setup to climax. And then the climax is always amazing. There's always dealing with something. And it's a big story, because the thing about the story is it's not really a story where, each book, you have to, do one thing. There's not one objective to each book. That Percy Jackson does it. It's there's, okay, this book has this objective, this book has this objective, this book has this objective, but they kind of cohesively make one story, and they kind of like, oh, they find the big objective at the end. But this book has one, like, I kind of like, it's not one big, oh, this is our obstacle for this book. I feel like it's kind of lazy. Robert Jordan kind of like makes it big. Like, he makes it like, oh, this is all the stuff I'm going to write about. One of Rand defeating the Dark One eventually, and he's dealing with everything about being in charge of not in charge of this, but being kind of the savior of this world. And he's like, hey, you're going to save the world, but you're also going to go crazy. He's also kind of going mad throughout these books. It's very, very great. And I think the ending of this, the Lord of Chaos, was crazy good. Well, my favorite part, like, it's hard to not spoil it, but there was a massive fight, and if this cover tells you anything, it's pretty epic. There was a massive fight. I'm not going to say why and no context of it yet, but because this is not technically a spoiler review. But like, the fight is really, really, really good and really well done, and really, like, you felt for it. I was mad at people who are supposed to be our villains, or like the Aes Sedai. I'm getting very borderline spoilers here, but I'm trying not to. But like, you kind of like, I kind of felt like I was like, okay, yeah, let's fight. Like, I was really hyped for this fight, and I think that's what made it my favorite book out of all of Halfway. So yeah, I'm halfway through Wheel of Time. That's crazy. That was 7 books. I just kind of flew through. Right now I'm on book 8. The review for that should be very soon, and I'm very happy that I did this, and I do not regret it, and I probably will not regret the second half of Wheel of Time. So you can expect my review for Wheel of Time as a whole around December or November. That's when I'm going to do my review for the whole series in general, because it's amazing, and it's shaping up to be my favorite series of all time. And I want to do more videos talking about it, because all the videos I've done for Wheel of Time have just been individual reviews. I want to do more lore to the Wheel of Time. I want to do like more Wheel of Time content that's not reviews. And this is my first one. I'm going to do probably like a short eventually, something like that. But like, I think it's really, really cool, and I think you should definitely give it a read. I'm going to do a why you should read when I finish, when I have more context. But it's definitely not been a waste of time. This looks like way too much knowledge to consume. But it's definitely not a waste of time. It's been my favorite book. It's a lot of these books were just really, really, really excellently crafted, and I really appreciate that by Robert Jordan. So this is a 17-minute video, and I wasn't even going in depth, so that was not good. I'm always get carried away talking, but yeah, so that's basically my thoughts on the Wheel of Time. Read Wheel of Time, please, and yeah, see you in the next video.